Thank you very much. It's a great honor to be with Prime Minister Ishiba of Japan. He's a highly respected man, doing a fantastic job. The people of Japan like him a lot. That's good. And it's a real honor to have him in the Oval Office. This is the first time he's been into the Oval Office. And when people come in here the first time, they like to look for a little while, and he did. And it was this represents some of our best presidents, but it represents a lot of other things also. But up on the wall, we have some of our best presidents over the years. And people enjoy it very much, and they enjoy being here. And it's a great honor to have you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. ありがとうございます。石破総理をお招きできることはとても私にとっても名誉であります。石破総理は日本でも皆様が非常に敬意を示している総理でありまして、素晴らしいお仕事をされており、国民から非常に好かれている総理でもあります。なので、この場にお招きできることは本当に私にとって光栄であります。執務室への訪問は初と聞いております。多くの方がここを訪問しますけれども、この部屋に入った際に見渡して歴代大統領とかの写真を皆眺めて感銘を受ける場所であります。ですので改めまして石破総理、アメリカ訪問していただきありがとうございます。
大統領閣下、本日お招きをいただきまして誠にありがとうございます。心から厚く御礼を申し上げます。
The Honorable Mr. President, thank you very much for inviting me to the White House today. From the bottom of my heart, I would like to express my sincere appreciation for the invitation.
安倍元総理のご夫人、安倍昭恵さんを通じまして、大統領閣下の本を頂戴いたしました。そこにはピースと書かれてありました。非常に感銘を受けたところであります。
Through Mrs. Akie Abe, you kindly delivered your photo book for me, and on that you gave me an autograph. You wrote peace for me, and I was really touched by your message.
そこには大統領閣下の深い思いが込められているというふうに感じました。
And I realized that the word peace represents what you care.
昨年の7月であったかと思います。大統領になられる前でしたが、狙撃をされた時にひるむことなく立ち上がられ、拳を天に突き上げて、その時の写真が非常に印象的でありました。
And I vividly remember what you had to experience during the presidential election. I remember that was last July. There was an assassination attempt. And I was very touched by your undaunted presence, that you stood up and also you raised your fist high in the sky.
そこの背後には星条旗がはためき、そして青い空が映っていた。あの写真はおそらく歴史に残る一枚だったと思います。
And behind you, there was a star-spangled banner with the blue sky, and that specific photo will be remembered as it was one of the most unforgettable scene in the photo.
あの写真を見て私はおそらく大統領閣下の時に自分はこうして神様から選ばれたんだ。必ず大統領に当選し、再びアメリカを偉大な国、そして世界を平和に、そのように確信されたに違いないと思っておりま
And as
す。
I looked at the photo, I realized that through that experience, you realized your mission, namely, you're going to win the election, and also you're going to pursue your signature initiative of Make America Great Again, and also you will redouble your efforts to bring peace to the world. And that is why God saved you in that experience.
Thank you very much.
大統領閣下がメイクアメリカグレートアゲインというふうにおっしゃっておられますが、それは忘れ去られた人々、オールメンですかね、忘れられた人々に対する深い思いやりに基づくものであったと思います。
And I understand that you have been advocating the key signature initiative, Make America Great Again. And I understand that that actually reflects your deep compassion to the forgotten man and woman.
私も総理大臣に就任して以来、地方創生ということを掲げております。それは日本の中には地方を中心として忘れ去られている寂しい思いを持った人がたくさんいます。そういう人たちにもう一度夢と希望を持ってもらいたい、そういう思いに基づくものであります。
And just like you, since I took office as Prime Minister of Japan, I have been advocating my goal of regional revitalization and also local revitalization in Japan as well. In many of the suburban areas and rural areas, we do see many forgotten men and women, and I do hope to bring dream and hope for them.
日本と合衆国は今非常に緊密な関係にありますが、それは全て第一次トランプ政権において大統領閣下と今は亡き安倍総理大臣、そのお二人によってその姿勢が築かれた、そのように私は承知をいたしております。
At this juncture, I am proud of the very good relationship between Japan and the United States. There is a very close partnership, and I do believe that it is Mr. President and late Prime Minister Shinzo Abe who laid the foundation for such robust relationship between our two countries.
今後も大統領閣下と私、そして合衆国と日本国、力を合わせてさらに世界が平和になる、そしてさらに人々が夢と希望を持って生きていくことができるように努めてまいりたいと存じます。
So as we move forward, together with Mr. President, and also together with the United States, Japan and myself are determined to work hand in hand to bring peace to the world and also enable people to have their dream and their hope.
Thank you very much. That was beautiful. And I just want to say that Shinzo was a great friend of mine. So sad. I couldn't have felt worse when that happened to him, that horrible event. But he also was a friend of yours, and he had tremendous respect for you. And we would talk about the different people in Japan. He had tremendous respect for you, as does Mrs. Abe. And when she came and visited at Mar-a-Lago, she was terrifically impressed by the job you're doing. And I thought it was very nice. But Shinzo had tremendous regard for you. And I know that you were a good friend of his too. So it's just an honor on his behalf even to say it's just an honor to be with all of you. He was a good friend of mine. He was a wonderful man.
心臓は私の親しい友人であり、彼が亡くなったことは私にとっても非常に悲しい事態でありました。本当に最悪な、私にとって最悪な日で、また、ひどい悲劇でありました。私が理解しているのは、私の知り合い、友人でもありましたけども、安倍元総理は石破総理のことをとても尊敬していたと私は聞いております。これは安倍元総理、そしてご夫人も言っておられたことですけども、非常に尊敬をしていて、今、総理が行っている業務等について感銘を受けていると聞いております。マーラーゴでご夫人に会った時もそのように聞いております。ですので、この私の親しい友人が尊敬されていた総理とこの場を過ごすことは私にとっても大きな光栄であります。
政治家のみならず民間人にもトランプ大統領閣下がこうしてご就任になったということを喜んでいる者はたくさんおります。トヨタ自動車の会長、豊田清志は私の高校大学時代の同級生、友人でありますが、彼は本当にトランプ大統領が再び就任されることを心待ちにしていたとよく口に出しております。
not only among politicians, but also among general public as well as business leaders. There are many that are anxiously waiting for your comeback. And let me cite one example. Mr. Akio Toyoda, CEO of Toyota, is actually my friend from high school as well as college days. And he confessed to me that he was also anxiously waiting for your victory and your comeback.
彼はこれからアメリカにさらに多くの投資をし、多くの雇用を作りたい、そういう発表をするということでございました。
And when I talked to him, he shared with me his future plan to announce more investment to the United States and also to create more jobs in the United States.
あるいはここに外務大臣、岩谷外務大臣がおりますが、先般も大統領閣下とお話をした孫正義さん、彼は岩谷外務大臣の長い友人でありますけれども、彼もこの間アルトマン氏と一緒に私面会をいたしましたが、アメリカに多くの投資をこれからするのだというふうに申しておりました。
Another example is the SoftBank Group CEO Masayoshi Son, or Masa, who happens to be a longtime friend of my foreign minister, Minister Iwaya. He also had a chance to see me together with Mr. Altman, CEO of OpenAI. And Masa also shared his vision to bring more investment to the United States.
我が日本国は国に対する投資はこの5年間連続して世界一位であります。
Japan has been the largest investor for the United States in the last 5 consecutive years.
これもこれから先もっと伸ばしていきたいと考えております。
And building upon that, we are ready to further increase our investment to the United States.
またこれはまだ発表いたしておりませんが、日本の自動車メーカーいすゞという会社がありますが、それが近々合衆国に工場建設をし、多くの雇用を作るということを決定をいたしました。
And also, there is another good news that I would like to deliver to you. A Japanese automaker Isuzu has a plan to create a factory in the United States in the near future.
あるいは先ほど申し上げましたが、トヨタ自動車は合衆国の工場を拡張する、あるいは新設をするという計画を持って近々実行いたします。工場はこの4月から本格的に稼働いたします。
And as I touched upon the example of Toyota, they also have another plan to expand their factories as well as start to operate new factories in the near future. And as far as I understand, there is one factory to be fully operational starting the month of April this year.
Well, thank you very much, and we're going to be working on that, and I think your auto factories are going to do very well. We have a lot of companies coming into the United States to build autos because of what we've done with taxation, and I know they're going to do very well. And say hello to Mr. Toyota, who's somebody I met over there and became friendly with. Terrific man. All of these people are so great, such a great country. We do want to work on a deficit. We have about $100 billion deficit with Japan, which I'm not surprised because you're very good negotiators, I will say. But we want to work on that and get that down to even equality, I call it. Let's be equal. So I think we'll be able to do that pretty easily. And that's pretty much what I want to do. I want to get other countries also to equality with the United States in terms of deficits. And I think we'll be able to do that very routinely.
ありがとうございます。非 非常に、この件に関してもこれから私たちが取り組む、予定でありますけれども、特に、自動車工場というものは素晴らしいものになると思います。米国への投資が進み、自動車を米国で、作るということ、これは非常に良いビジネスになると思います。多くの、国々からこういった投資がありますけれども、これはひとえに、米国の税制があるからだと思います。ですので、こういった業務というものはこれからもどんどん進んでいくことを期待します。トヨタ氏ですけれども、私は彼に会ったこともありますし、彼は私の友人でもあります。ぜひとも彼によろしくお伝えしていただければと思います。また、貿易赤字に関してなんですけれども、今、日米の間で100億ドルほどの貿易赤字があります。これは日本が素晴らしい交渉力を持っているからだと思うんですけれども、これを均衡に戻す必要があると思いまして、これは各国とも私は常に言っていることですけれども、貿易をその均衡に戻す、これが一つの私の策でもあります。
To what extent will you discuss North Korea today, sir?
That'll always be a topic, especially with Japan. We will be discussing North Korea and many other things. We'll be spending pretty much the day, but that's always a topic.
Mr. President, have you changed your mind about the sale of U.S. steel?
No, I think we're going to be discussing that today. No, I haven't, and I hear we'll have some pretty good information on that. You might want to go.
そのことに関しても今日話をします。
Have you?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Mr. President, are tariffs an option if the deficit doesn't get to equilibrium or to equality?
Yes.
関税については均衡戻らない場合はどうなるんですか。
Mr. President, can you discuss what your plan is for reciprocal trade? Are you signing an EO on that today?
I'll be announcing that next week. Reciprocal trade, so that we're treated evenly with other countries. We don't want any more or any less. So I'll be announcing that next week. And many other things having to do not even with trade, but other things. But I'll be talking about reciprocal trade sometime next week. We'll have a news conference and we'll lay it out. Pretty simple.
Would that target every single country?
It affects everybody. Yeah.
So Japan too?
Reciprocal. Yeah. We'll be talking about that next week.
首相にちょっと伺いたいんですけれども、今関税を課すという話になってるんですけど、関税が課されることについてはこのように考えていらっしゃいますか？
お互いにそれが利益になるようにいうことが重要なことだと思っているのです。合衆国の発展、そして日本国の発展、そのために有益な制度となることを期待をしておりまして、具体的なことについてはまだこれから。
I understand that the key point in this regard is to make that for mutually beneficial. That means that would benefit the development of the United States as well as the development of Japan. And I do hope that whatever measures and actions should meet this criteria, meaning that serving the interest of both countries. But as to specifics, I understand that we are going to have further discussion.
Correct.
Mr. President, are there any specific concessions that you will be asking for from Japan that you can share?
Oh, we'll be having, I think it'll be very easy for Japan. We have a fantastic relationship. I don't think we'll have any problem whatsoever. They want fairness also.
それはうまく進むと思います。日本は素晴らしいパートナーですし、彼らもことがスムーズに進むことを期待していると思います。これは双方にとってです。
Mr. President, do you have a reaction to the new Time magazine cover that has Elon Musk sitting behind your Resolute desk?
タイムマガジンにイーロン・マスクが大統領の机の後ろで座っている写真がありますけれども、それに関するコメントは何かありますか？
Is Time Magazine still in business? I didn't even know that.
タイムマガジンは廃刊じゃないんですか？
Elon is doing a great job. He's finding tremendous fraud and corruption and waste. You see it with the USAID, but you're going to see it even more so with other agencies and other parts of government. He's got a staff that's fantastic. He's wanted to be able to do this for a long time, and everybody else knew it was existent, but I think never so much. When you look at USAID, that's a That's a fraud. The whole thing is a fraud. Very little being put to good use. Every single line that I look at in terms of events and transactions is either corrupt or ridiculous. And we're going to be doing that throughout government. And I think we're going to be very close to balancing budgets for the first time in many years. I think we're going to be very close to, in addition to monies coming in from tariffs, et cetera, et cetera. But no, he's doing a very good job. I'm very happy with him.
Will you put Elon Musk up on the podium for us to ask him some questions, Mr. President? At any point? Will you put Elon Musk up on the podium for us to ask him some questions?
Oh, sure.
about
He's not shy. Elon's not shy.
Any further deliberations on Gaza, sir? The timetable for a takeover?
No deliberations. It's been very well received, where basically the United States would view it as a real estate transaction, where we'll be an investor in that part of the world, and no rush to do anything. We wouldn't need anybody there. It would be supplied and given to us by Israel. They'll watch it in terms of security. We're not talking about boots on the ground or anything, but I think the fact that we're there, that we have an investment there, I think would go a long way to creating peace. We don't want to see everybody move back and then move out in 10 years. This has been going on for 50 years, much more than that. We just want to see stability. That would be having us have that particular piece in that particular location, I think would show great stability and would lead to great stability in the area for very little money, very little price, and we wouldn't need soldiers at all. That will be taken care of by others. And the investments are taken care of by others also. So for no investment, I mean virtually no investment whatsoever, it would bring stability to the area, and others can invest in it later on. But we're in no rush on it. There's absolutely no rush.
President Trump, do you believe DeepSeek is a national security threat, and how do you plan to collaborate on AI initiatives?
On where?
DeepSeek, do you believe it's a national security threat?
No, I think it's happening. I mean, it's a technology that's happening. It's actually, I think we're going to benefit if it's correct what's going on now, that it'll be a lot less expensive. The AI we're talking about will be a lot less expensive than people originally thought. That's a good thing. I view that as a very good development, not a bad development.
Mr. President, on autos specifically, in your first term, you tried to tariff autos. Is that on the table still? Are you trying to do that in your second administration?
Auto tariff?
Auto tariff?
Oh yeah, sure. That's on the table. That's always on the table. It's a very big deal. Because we are, we have cases where we don't supply autos and other countries do, and we have to equalize it. We have to stabilize it and equalize it.
Will you have Vice President Vance meet with President Zelensky next week while he's in Europe?
I will probably be meeting with President Zelensky next week, and I will probably be talking to President Putin. I'd like to see that war end. For one primary reason, they're killing so many people. You're losing millions of people on a battlefield. In this case, mostly the battlefield. You have 800,000 or 900,000 Russian soldiers are dead and very badly wounded. And the same thing with Ukraine. You have probably 700,000 with Ukraine. The numbers they gave are a little bit lower than that, but I believe those numbers aren't correct. I'd like to see it end just on a human basis. It's terrible what's going on. They have open fields with no protection. The only thing a bullet can hit is a human body, and the human body dies as soon as it gets hit. Now, I'd like to see that end. It's a ridiculous war. It would have never started if I were president. That war would have never started. Putin would not have started that war if I were president. And by the way, you wouldn't have had October 7th if I was president either. That mess would not have started. But no, I would very much like to help out. One of the things we're looking at with President Zelensky is having the security of their assets. They have assets underground, rare earth and other things, but primarily rare earth. And we want to have security. Really, we want security because, as you know, Europe is putting up much less money than us. NATO, Europe, call it whatever you want. And we're at probably 300 billion plus, and they're at probably, the real number is 100 billion. That's a lot of money, but it's 200 billion less than us, and there's an ocean in between. They need it more than us. So we're asking them to equalize and get even, but we're also asking President Zelensky for the security of, we're putting all this money up and we're saying, where does it stop? And yet, we want to see it out to an end. We want to see it end. But we are going to be asking for the security, and we've already told him, of an equal amount of something where our money, the American taxpayer is in for $300 billion. Biden never negotiated. He never told Europe to put in more money. And it got out of hand, just like NATO. NATO, we were paying almost 100% of NATO when I first came in. Everybody was taking advantage of the good old United States, but not anymore. So what, and now, if you speak to the Secretary General of NATO, who was very nice when he was here 2 weeks ago, he said what Trump did was amazing. He got everybody to pay. And to do that, you have to ask, and Biden never asked. So we're in for probably close to $200 billion more than Europe, and yet obviously it affects Europe much more than us. So we would like them to stay, to equalize. They have to go more. And from our standpoint, we do want security and all this money that we're putting up.
You're speaking with him next week, sir? Is that what you said?
You're going to speak
He may meet next week, yeah. Whatever he's like.
Come
I'm
to
here.
Washington?
Coming here or what?
I'm here. Could be Washington. Well, I'm not going there.
Are you planning to meet with President Putin, or are you just planning a
It could
phone
be.
call?
We've always had a good relationship. President Putin and I have always had a good relationship. That's why it's so sad that it happened. This would have never happened if I were president. It's so sad to see it happen. So many dead people. By the way, so many cities are demolished. They're like, you talk about Gaza? Well, take a look at Ukraine. So many of those cities are demolition sites, demolished. So sad. Should have never happened. All those beautiful golden domes, but much more importantly, all those beautiful people are dead. And it should have never happened. Thank you very much, everybody.